So I had a quick break. Had a look at this RLS thing as well. Wanted to see if we could sort this out, and turns out it's possible. Ran through all the little manual install bits and pieces that it was moaning about. Ran through them all in here, with the final and most interesting one being that it wanted the very latest nightly. Going back to here, the reason for that is because RLS has not been included in, well, all of those nightlies for some reason. Don't know why, but it's fixed now. So this takes us back to what does this take us back to? The problem at hand, which was, sorry, just trying to get chat up on my phone, which was this weird lifetime thing with this vector here. Really interesting. Well, it's not that interesting, but my phone takes so long to figure out that that I'm streaming. There we go. There we go. It's caught up now. I think that might have been a Wi-Fi issue. Solved. So yeah, we got loads of these little warnings, but this is the one. Excuse me. This is the one that's causing us all the trouble. So essentially saying that Perfix doesn't live long enough. This argument requires that Perfix is borrowed for static, but I don't understand why. And I feel like it's gonna take some serious Googling to figure this one out. I do wonder if excuse me. I wonder if there's like a Rust. Well, I know there is. There's a Rust playground or something like that. Rustlang. Yeah. What I want is just a page that lets me compile some really simple playground examples. That might be exactly what I'm after. Yeah, play.rustlang. Okay. There's got to be a way for us to make a really small version of this. So let's do that. Let's make a version of this that's got really minimal steps to reproduce this problem. So we've got a little vector going on here. Guess we'll just grab ourselves a copy of one of these. And all of that sits in a utils library. Great. I wonder, is there catch common mistakes and improve this code using Clippy? Go gadget Clippy. Unresolved import crate model. This is of course going to be tricky for us to recreate. Excuse me. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of all of this actually. Try that again. This looks a bit horrible, doesn't it? That's a bit better. So if I run that. Okay, so that now runs. And let's grab a copy of this. Which is a line where everything starts to go wrong. Grab this for loop, the errors. Grab this value here. Just want to create the minimum possible to recreate the error. No method name to usize found, type U64. Fine. Probably because I need to include something, right? Although I don't know what, maybe this is the num traits to primitive thing. Yep. So this, like, curiously works. Well, I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting that to error. So maybe we can't quite recreate it. Because I'm guessing with this line here being the one that actually errors, and maybe we can recreate it, maybe we can. So maybe we could now say error thing. And I think let's just replace this string thing with. Actually, no, let's just recreate it exactly. Unclosed delimiter. Okay, so I got something slightly wrong here. Okay, so this is suggesting that this will quite happily compile. That is extremely curious. So going back to here, we do a full build. Borrowed value does not live long enough. That's in perfect, so that complains there. But we've proved here that it works just fine. Is it, maybe it's something to do with the seed library? So I do wonder if it's to do with the library that I'm using for these. I guess I could figure that out actually. I could take this. And I could just put it here. And probably just note that out. See if this compiles, because if this compiles, then in the seed library obviously requires this to be, I say obviously, that's probably not the right word, given how long I've been trying to debug this. Curiously, that does compile. Oh, I think I've just figured it out. This this could get called at any time because it's an event, right? It's an event, so of course this perfect doesn't live long enough because it needs to live longer than this entire render function. So I guess that means it does have to live forever, potentially. That's back to it needing to, yeah, back to it needing to be static with a lifetime operator. Reluctant to do that immediately. Kind of want to commit work in progress. I know it's not a good idea, but just in case I want to get back to this point, git commit. Let's say doesn't compile, but work done for. Don't know what is wrong with my voice. This is it's fine. Doesn't compile. Work done for partially. No, what do I want to commit? No, let's not commit it. Let's not commit it. That's fine. Let's take this and ditch them. Place them all. Yeah, off you go. That can stay for the moment. Although, actually, no, that will just become an empty string. Literal. And grab. No, what did I do? Power of the alt. This is what you came here to see. Lots of clicking. Oh, I missed one. Oh well. Okay, let's compile that. Oh, in fact, look, RLS is working, so we're going to get some real-time feedback on why this is broken. And it's definitely broken. So, why is it definitely broken? This is going to say it was expecting a string, and we did not give it a string. And this here is what a string should look like. That's a string that will last forever, I think. Use of undeclared lifetime A. That's probably because in the struct it used to have... Quite happy for it to be cloned. This, and then it'll complain saying, I don't understand. And I expect that to be here. But we can see in the history, so yeah, it's going to expect, rather confusingly, it's going to expect a lifetime operator there. Okay, that's sort of all right. How many errors have we got left? Missing lifetime specifier here. What? Use of undeclared lifetime name A. Alright, fine. Just have that then. But then that'll error because that's not even remotely valid. Mismatch types. Fine. That just needs to be an empty string. Let's put that in there. All I'm doing is just going through all the places where it's complaining and adding a tiny bit of code that says this is going to be the same for the whole life of this program, so it can live for the whole life of this program. Use of undeclared lifetime name A. So that gives us an error code. If I compile this, it will give us a nice error code. I can just lazily copy and paste. Oof, don't want to search. want to paste things. When using a lifetime like A in a type, it must be declared before being used. Okay, so this illustrates the problem. Use of an undeclared lifetime. So that looks fine. Struct error use of undeclared lifetime name A. What? These can be fixed by declaring lifetime parameters. Oh, I see. So somewhere here. So because I'm using this, I now need to add it to the model. That's unpleasant. Then is that valid, Rust? I'm just guessing. No, I was not happy about that. Fine. That's undeclared, apparently. That's probably undeclared. I am not liking the number of places I'm going to have to update. I'm not liking that at all. Look at that. Every single file, basically. Everywhere that we've got this. I could probably do a search and replace across the entire project. Okay, so we're going to search for that, and we're going to replace it. I think we're going to replace it with that. Apparently I've lost my arrows. There they are. Sure. How do I actually do? How do I do the replace? Replace all. Submit search to enable. 27 results. Okay, so I've done that, and we're going to affect hopefully just our files. Place. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not entirely sure, just mostly sure. Let's go back, see how many errors we've got now. Just as many. Hello, what am I doing? Yes, hello, Dalek. That's a very, very, very good question. Trying not to refactor the entire program. So what I was trying to do, very simply, was might even have the page open still if it hasn't errored away somewhere. So instead of having this number pre-generated when the page loads, take this formula, and which I've got. That bit works, so we can generate the answer to this formula. But what I want to do is have it only happen when we click generate, and then I thought that would be reasonably simple. Turns out I was wrong. And now, because I'm using I've lost it. I don't even know where it's gone. I think I must have minimized it. Yeah, because we've got this vector with a lifetime parameter here, I'm now having to find, or basically just going back up through the tree of dependencies in the type system. Dependency is not the right word, I don't think, but going up through the type system, and basically every single function, or at least every single page, is touched by this problem, where we have to change the definition of pretty much every function. I'm just trying to do that quickly, because if this works, that would be neat. What is actually wrong with this page now? If I scroll down to here, what's this complaining about? Use of undeclared lifetime. What do you mean undeclared? Why is it undeclared? Probably because... No, why is that undeclared? I guess because that's not actually our function to change as part of the seed library. So that would mean these can't all be static. So let's back out of this. How do we back out of this? That's a very good point. Can we? I guess it's finding this. And replacing all instances of it. Yep. Head back to files. Probably find this doesn't error quite so much now. Alright, still quite a bit. Wow. What's actually the error? Missing lifetime specifier. I'm gonna ditch these. Cool. Okay, that takes us back to some realm of manageable change. Don't know why that's there and not complaining, but or there and yeah, I'm sure we needed that somewhere else. Down here we were specifying maybe we're not anymore. Doesn't matter. So here, missing lifetime specifier. So if I go, oh, because we've got this specified here. Alright, what if this wasn't a vector? That's the next thing. What if this was a fixed size array? Can we do something with that? I don't want to have to go through all the way up through the functions. And it's curious that this works, doesn't it? It's just the seed library that needs something else. I wonder if we could convert it from a vector to an array just as we need it. So here. Rust vector to array. So did that Dalek, I don't know if that actually answered your question. Sorry, I tried to give you a quick run through of where we were, what we were doing, but I'm not sure what level of detail you were after. So what's this person trying to do? Not even convinced. It's 4 years ago, the syntax might not even be the same now. Tell you what, the other thing we could do is we could pass in just the 3 things that this needs. So generate, download. All this really needs is N and P. So why don't we go back to just providing N and P? Like what would go wrong if I do that? Apparently a lot. Generate download. This function takes 2. Because here we're defining that it should take a struct. Well, we could say it's going to take 2 U64s. This function takes 2 parameters, but 3 were supplied. That is very true. Fair point. Okay, that stopped erroring. What if? Oh yeah, this doesn't really. What do we want the download to be? We kind of want it to be. I'm just going to get this working first of all. It says copying it. Why do I keep copying in random code? There we go. This is unpleasant to say the least, but just get this working. Download N, download P. Would it be better for this to be like an array or a struct or a... Don't need this. Back here. No field download N. So that's fine. So we've got download. This I think needs to change. I wonder if I can have a struct without a name. Is that allowed? Possibly not. Okay, expected type found 0, so no, that must be a declaration rather than... Oh, broke something. Grab a copy, download N. And this we can just change to be a U64, right? To do. It's not tidy or easy to understand. Have a struct for download. We could just make a struct. I don't know why we don't do that. Let's just do that. In fact, I'm going to put one in perfect because I think we could add a struct in here for a perfect download. So perfect download. Don't need the digits. Probably going to complain at me for not using. Maybe it's not. Okay. So hit Control Z. Just stop myself from doing to-dos or creating to-dos. It's lazy. It's too lazy. Perfect utils. One of them. Then we can do the same again. We can grab one of these. Put that down here. Keep the N and P aspect. Get rid of the digits. No one cares about the digits. Download .n, download .p. Is that cool? Download. Struct model has no field named download. That's because I've got rid of that. There we go. So I reckon we're getting close. Use of undeclared lifetime. Is this where I'm going to have to change all of these back to being strings? Yeah, I'm going to have to change all these back to being strings. Sad times. That's okay. I think it's something along the lines like string from. Rust string from. Boom. One of those, please. Number of times I've changed this today. Too many. But if I change it again, what I'm going to do is just shorten, definitely shorten the number in the vector to maybe a few. Okay, let's use Alt again. Oh no, there we go. Oh, it's amazing when you stare at code unblinking. You know those things, they used to be in magazines, you'd like stare at them but slightly out of focus, and you'd see things like, I don't know, it might just look like a weird red or green mesh of colour, mosaic of colour, but when you stare at it slightly out of focus there's a dinosaur there or something. Anyway, the code looks like that. To me anyway. Okay, now this is going to complain for multiple reasons. This will be complaining. Oh no, okay, maybe that's okay. So what's this complaining about? Perfects does not live long enough. Well, why? Why not? Oh, we've still got this in there. I don't think that's needed. Apparently I was wrong. Borrowed value does not live long enough. Well, don't borrow it. Keep it. I guess the other thing we could do is we could revert. Like, I thought this was fine for perfect imperfects. I thought that would be fine because we're just iterating through an array or a vector, to be fair. Let's get rid of that. Perfect utils. I could do like to owned or something, or does that only really work on strings? So regardless, it doesn't live long enough. Borrowed value. So on line 100, argument requires that perfects is borrowed from a static. So the other option is I put this back to being a for loop. I don't think that's right either though. I don't think that's necessarily going to solve the problem. Can't believe it won't let me copy that. That's some usability right there. Perfects does not live long enough. Well, fine. What if it does? What if we said hang on, we just created a perfect download and then we didn't use it. What am I doing? So what we should do actually is so within this download we can say let, there might be some duplication we can clear up in a second. If we said let perfect download equal this thing, one of these. Crack open this and we can say we've got N and we've got P, comma in there for good luck. Then we can say this equals perfect P, this equals perfect dot N, And we can say this is what we use. So we just pass this in as a single thing. And then probably get rid of some of this. Oh, that's going to complain because the scope's not quite right. That's okay. That's okay. There we go. Different errors. Ah, different errors. I thought we'd solved it there for a second. I got super excited. This function takes 2 parameters, but only one was provided. Sure. Well, what if we did this? Straight bound. Standard clone is not satisfied. So you would like to be able to clone perfect download. And this is erroring because it should have an upper camel case name. What, like that? Okay, well, we're gonna have to find all instances of this now. Put an underscore in there. Find perfects util. Yep. Place them all. And this is saying this has 2 fields, but really it shouldn't. Fair enough. Yes, fair enough. So instead it should just have one of these. Well, should it? Oh, this gets messy now, doesn't it? I wonder. Yeah, okay, so that should just be download. But instead of equaling n, it would be perfect download dot n, perfect download dot p. I think that's right. Wrong number of lifetime guarantees. I think that's no longer required in the one and only lonely test in the entire pair. Unbelievable. Is that every error? That is every error. Now we just have some unused problems. But if this compiles, first of all we're going to commit it. Go away. So much stuff. Okay, that does things now. So doesn't do very much. We don't get any errors. But it compiles. Okay, so git commit source -m code compiles once again. That feels like a terrible commit message. Grab a copy of that though. And let's do a git diff, see what we're dealing with. Okay. So we're essentially saying what are we saying? There's loads of extra weird spaces, and what's this about? I think that's including files I haven't touched. Mazen, what did we do to Mazen? That must be new line differences or something. Don't know. Git commit. So instead of source, let's include library, and let's include let's just use git add like anyone normally would. Git add source lib. Why is that not auto-completing? Happy to take the file, but refuses to autocomplete, so it's going to make me type all of this out. Fine, git commit -m. We can say we added a struct for downloads. I think that might be the main thing that we changed. I actually changed this file. That's interesting. As soon as I do a git add, it loses all the highlighting, but that makes some degree of sense. Added a perfect download struct, and now using in model. Let's push that because that was quite a lot of code change. Would not want to lose that. Okay, so apparently we still have some changes. That can't be true. Oh no, it's not changes. These are just complaints. So this is complaining variable perfect download should have a snake case name. All right. Easy enough to fix. Solve those problems. Unused variable p. Okay, let's commit some of this stuff. So git commit. Specifically, this is the pages archive perfect singular to rs. Corrected var name. Okay, that's one down. What is going on with this Mazen file? It's like everything's just been trashed in it. I might revert the changes in that. Can I do that? Maybe I can't. Maybe this has got yeah, look, it's got like just loads of random spaces on the end. We should have a plugin for this, surely. There should be a plugin that gets rid of this. So I'm going to revert whatever changes have been made to this file. Not because I'm sure they're not nice changes, but I didn't change anything, so it's probably automated. Source, pages, archive, oh dear, archive, we'll get there in the end. Source pages, archive, Mazen. Yeah. Close that. I feel like it's ignoring me. Fine, we'll just keep committing perfect separately for the moment. That's fine. So what is this complaining? Unused variable. Really? I guess it is. I guess after all that faffing with the model, we don't actually need to pass it to render. That's quite neat. Okay. Then we're going to have an error because somewhere in here we do actually try and pass it to render, so that goes, and I reckon that. So we can say lib.rs removed modal. Yeah. Then what else? Somehow we completely perfect P to usize unwrap. Fine. So we can say removed unused variable. Removed unused variable. Near enough. What else? What else have we got in our problems? Unused to primitive. Get rid of that as well. That can stay. That can stay. I have no idea if that's used or not. Just leave it there for now. I mean, it says it's not used, so it's not used, right? I wonder if that will... I wonder if this will compile. No. It takes one argument. So I guess because we don't care about the argument. Fine. So now we can say removed unused code. Although technically that last thing wasn't removing unused code. Let's push that up. Have another little build. Just thinking about it. Have a refresh of that. Okay, so we got a button that does nothing. The code compiles, but it doesn't seem to do anything. So we run generate download, which is defined here. Then I assume it runs update, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't update the model. For that we would need to have a copy of a whole bunch of stuff actually. Let's see if we can get this a bit more ship shape, and then we'll deal with the fact that it doesn't actually work. Let download file name format. So basically have p and then a number.txt. Fine, we get n passed in for free, so that's fine. The number 2, that's probably used on the next line. Yep. Then we work out a power by doing a bit of bit shifting. Yep, that's fine. Because we can just work all of this out through the magic of bit shifting, as someone told me a couple of streams ago. Thank you very much. Perfect value becomes power clone, lots of cloning, some unwrapping. Fine. And then we try and return some HTML. But of course, this file's not actually, or this is seemingly not used anywhere. Not used in here either? No. No. So somehow, we need to get the fact that this has been clicked on to do something with generate file. Question is what? I think this is a jolly good time for an if statement. Because what we could do, you know, we did need the model. I know I got rid of it, but we do need the model because now literally I'm about to check what the model is set to. So what would have been handy is to be able to say, oh, is model download. Is model download n greater than 0? Because if it is, then actually we would like to generate something to download, not display a button that says generate download. So in this case we would run generate file and we would pass in model.download.n and model.download.p, and this is going to complain because it doesn't have the right scope. Now it does. And model's going to complain because we're no longer passing it in, and we should be, which is a shame. Let's just check out GitHub again. Grab a copy of that code. It'll be in the commits, right? Okay, we're on the right tree. This is the pages, archive, perfect, history. Anything to do with the model. So we removed the model injection here, which means we can see what it used to look like. Pretty simple. Okay. Simple when you can copy and paste it. Anything up here? Yes, and within librs. Huh. That's very weird. Quite useful actually. I think it's gonna, I don't know how, but I just accidentally pushed some key combination that's gonna save that particular commit to disk. Maybe it'll create a patch file. Pretty neat if it does that from a Control S. Anyway, I sidetracked us. We were putting, oh yeah, there we go. Thank you very much, Rust, for highlighting the line. Alright, let's try and compile that. Stuff is broken. Expected U size found U64. Alright, that's totally doable. Totally doable. So if we head back up to... this function, so we're passing in U size. Is that because it has to be U size? What if it was U64? Might generate different errors, and so maybe we'll want to convert it before it goes in. Yeah, mismatch type. So what if I did p.toUsize? That is almost what I meant to write. Something like that. We did have a usize conversion going on in here before. It was in the middle of this. So if I go back through history, let's take a look at maybe this one. Yeah, there we go, that sort of thing. So let's just put it in there and see what happens. That complains, no method named toUsize found for type U64 in the current scope. That probably means at the very top of this file, there's something that we need to add to allow, yeah, this probably, to allow conversions. It's not what I meant to click. There we go. We're not using power, we don't need to worry about power. Huh. That compiled. So in this case, we're saying yes, we're saying this should have this needs to change. Okay, so sorry, my brain was getting there. It was getting there. So we've got an example of this somewhere already. In fact, it's the line above. Download file name. Yes, so that's all good. And the href. So actually we could reuse some code here. What am I doing? We could just do this. Save file. And we pass in the file name. And we pass in the data. And the data is this. That's a string. This wants to be converted to a string. It's okay. Again, if we head down to the example we had. Shifted perfect value. Really? We can just call toString on that? Well, that's super cool. Isn't that pleasant? Okay, let's recompile. The question is, well, what will happen? Okay, so it loaded quickly. And then it didn't do anything. So this, for all we know, could actually be fully working download code. But the problem we've got is it's not kicking off the download. So let's do a commit for where we are. No idea why this Mozem file is still doing its thing, but git source, then no. Going to I'm just going to commit this white space. Gets rid of that, fine. And this time we think we've got a separate generate file. So generate file possibly works. Certainly compiles, which is always a good sign. So next we need to figure out why this click event is where is it? There. Figure out why that is not working. It should. How would we know? We wouldn't even know if it's triggered. And even then, what would it trigger? So we would expect it to trigger a redraw of the tree, I guess. And then we're hoping that this if statement. Can I put a multi-line if statement in? Is it cool with that? Is that okay in Rust? I hope it is. This will be much easier to read. Yeah, good. So now we need to test first that it's triggering something. Let's go to seed.rs for that. I'm sure they must have an example here of when it triggers. Got simple events, input events. Keyboard events. Input event and keyboard event. The syntax is simplified. So what's an input event? It's not a keyboard event. Or is one like a subset of the other maybe? Oh, it's gonna be back to their code, isn't it? Try and make sense of this. Source. Events I'm after. So they've got a keyboard event. Custom. So they've also got mouse and pointer. Create an event that passes a WebSys keyboard event, allowing easy access to items like key code and key. Great. See keyboard event. This is for the mouse. Category mouse. So what if I just change this to a mouse event? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I did not mean to commit that. Foolish me for not using Control R for searching through my history. Yes, we've got no way of knowing if this actually works. It compiles at least, so mouse event. I mean, from a human readable point of view, at least we know that it's a mouse event. And then what else have we got here? So pointer event. So something is different between a pointer and a mouse. I'm guessing a mouse must be a click or a button, and maybe a pointer is just where the cursor actually happens to be. And all of these use this keyword move. So we're using this, right? So it's mouse event. They use a closure here. So the first argument, I guess, is the word input. Then the second argument is a string, except it's this entire so there's our trigger and there's our handler. No, that makes more sense. So what's oh, that's just the definition. Fine. So copy this here. Okay, so we've got a handler that handles the mouse event. That then creates a listener with a closure. We clone the handler. We clone. Not quite sure what this is saying. Then we create a new listener. Trigger a string version of the trigger. So how do I know if this is actually tell you what we could do. We could scale this up a bit. We know that it gets slow at about 30 plus, right? So in theory, we could see if this eats CPU when I click the button. And then we know if it's at least generating something and maybe not updating the tree. See if that's happy. Okay, well it's very quick, so we know it's not generating anything yet. And if I click this button, it doesn't crash the page, so I don't think that's triggering anything. So closed. We will get there with this. So in their case, they've got have they got an example of this edit key down? No. So the other option is we manually trigger a re-rendering of the screen, but I don't know if we do that. Oh, that's actually gonna. Right. Okay. Let's go back to here. Right. So down here we've got an init function, and ultimately this creates a default model, updates some routes, passes in the model. Sorry, returns the model. Already got an init function down here. And we don't want to start off, we don't want to make a default model, right? We want to take the current model. So instead of init, we want I think we want to run updates. So I think we want to run this. We want to trigger this. Okay, so how can we trigger this? I don't think we trigger it from here. I think we trigger it from in here somewhere. The sole source of updating the model. So we passed this, but what I don't understand is where this is going to. So we've got a function call to message generate download. But I'm not sure why. What would cause this to update? And in their example, so they're saying this is in the update function. You would have a key press event. So this, okay, so why, so that's mentioning in the update function. And we have this in the update function. So event.prevent default. Alright, that's useful. But we don't have event, we have perfect download, which is not actually an event, it's a message. We know it's a message because we set it here. We pass that in. Keyboard event. So at this point, EV, whatever EV is, it's suddenly available. EV was mentioned somewhere prior to now? Or is it just one of those magic words that the framework has added for us? Event.target.unwrap. Okay, so target value. So we get the text from a box, and then we make a change in the view. Raw event, event input, message key press. Alright, I'm going to start at the top again because I find myself confused again. Right, events are created by passing listeners or vectors of listeners into node macros, which we've done. So we've got a mouse event. They're created using the following functions exposed in the prelude. We have simple event, input event, keyboard event, mouse event, and raw event. Okay, we're using mouse event. The first is demonstrated in the example in the quick start section, and all are demonstrated in the to-dom VC example. To do MVC example? Alright. I promise to help with your documentation if I can figure this out myself. Takes two arguments. And what take? That feels like the... this is deja vu. This is half a sentence. Something takes two arguments, an event trigger, which can be a simple EVCDV imported in the prelude string, or I think there's something missing here. Okay, so it takes two arguments, an event trigger, which can be as simple as simple EV seed event imported in the prelude, a string or a string, e.g. EV click, context menu, etc., and an instance of your message enum. So we've done that. We've got input, that's our string saying this is what we're going to do. Then we've got this enum, right? We've got that. In their example, they're using message increment. The other three event creation functions take a trigger and a closure, an anonymous function similar to an arrow function in JavaScript that returns message enum. So we are using two arguments, not three. Does not pass any information about the event, only that it fired. Example, simple EV. Fine. So created a click. Simple event does something, and I'm guessing some function further in the framework is actually going to use simple events. So maybe that's the trick we're missing, but I thought it was the update function. Passes the event target's value field. E.g., what a user entered in an input event, input, text area, or select field. Okay, that's useful. But what is different? The fact that it's an input event? Come back to this, I think. So that's just saying this was clicked. This is saying here's the input. Not sure. Example select element. Hey, here's an idea. See if that compiles. Further to that, see if it runs. Can't find this event. Okay, well, Huh. That broke. Like really broke. The whole page has crashed. Which makes me think that that started generating the number. 11% CPU. I think that's currently generating. I can't prove it. Number 36. I mean, it took about 30 or 40 seconds before to generate a really large number. Try refresh. Yeah, that's super unhappy. So I think that worked. The thing is now, all I can do is wait until it's finished crunching that number, which is exactly what I think it's doing. Worse than that, actually. If there's a problem with my formula, it might never actually return, so this could just be an infinite loop. In which case I would expect Chrome to flag up in a minute that perhaps something's not going as well as it should be. And I could, oh, it won't let me untask it. Oh, it will. Cool. Okay, so just this page crashes. If I click on something small, like one of these, generate. That's interesting. So that actually, I mean, it didn't work. I don't think. These all just say 28. Why do those all just say 28? What did I click? Let's try the smallest one. These all say 6. Hey, this is beginning to look like it's trying to work. I mean, it's terrible that, yeah, so if model.download.n is greater than 0, what would be really neat is this, actually. So if these two were equal, this is looking promising. All I had to do was type some random gibberish to get it to work. Great. So let's not try the bottom one. Let's try the second one up. I mean, it's progress. And then if I download it, do we end up with a... Oh, can I remember the number from earlier? Is it? I think it started with a number, a 4-digit number that could be interpreted as a year. Yeah, 1915, 9216. And this one would be 28. Okay, I'm just going to bask in that for a minute. I typed some random rubbish into the keyboard, and that gave us a clue. So, what if this is... What have we got? What does the manual say we've got? So we can have a string such as... Already lost it. We had an example a minute ago. I'm sure we did. Yeah. So we can... So this says input. Is that just saying this is some example input? Returns a something. So there's something missing, which exposes several getter methods like keyboard, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we're definitely working with only partially available code here. 100%. So that was previously input. I think. Is it input? Put it back. Refresh this. Pick a small number. Interesting. Okay, so that it doesn't crash the page, but it doesn't do what we're expecting it to do. Now, they had some code here. They had a line of code that said event, prevent event, default. And this is saying it's in the update function. So if I go here and then I scroll down to this update function, do we need, maybe we do, to prevent the default happening? Ah, but then it says what the heck is event? Rightly so. I can't believe this would be right because we've defined this ourselves. Yeah, that's not right. So this suggests that we are passing in. Yeah, we're passing in the event. But how? How are we passing in the event? Is that through this? Is that what this should be? No, halfway there maybe. Could add a second. I don't want to, but I could add a second thing in there. And the other option is this. That probably feels even worse. Yeah, okay, this is just getting a little silly now. So just take it back to where we were. So we were getting somewhere. So we're saying unused web system. So it knows what it is. It knows it's a mouse event. So perhaps we do need to pass this as an event. This will come up with a whole different error, of course, because when we go to message generate download, it's going to have absolutely no idea what event is. So going back to here, this is a web underscore sys mouse event. So web sys mouse event. Failed to resolve use of undeclared type or module. WebSys. Is it part of seed or is it maybe it's its own crate? Doubt this is going to give us any clues. What are we including? Use seed. Perhaps if we go to cargo toml, we're using WebSys in here anywhere? No. No is the short answer. So I kind of want an example that gives me enough code to see where these WebSys events are coming in from. So it thinks these just exist, at least within the lib. Web underscore sys, all lowercase. And look, in their version, they've even got, this is within their email message. I think WebSys must be a crate that we need to include. The question is, where is it coming from? Where does WebSys come from? So this is events.rs, and for some reason WebSys is just available. So let's just search their code base, see what we find. That was potentially easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so that gives us event. Then it's going to well, no, that probably won't complain. That will cease to complain. But then back to the original thinking. Somewhere here we had an example of them cancelling the default behavior. Yeah, event prevent default. It's looking a little horrible. Make it a little more palatable. Okay, problems. Unresolved import. We were so close. No WebSys external crate. Fine. Do I need to specify it then in my cargo file? WebSys equals... no idea. Absolutely no idea. Let's have a look. Announcing WebSys crate. Okay. Can I find out what version it is? Create WebSys. This page just full on break. Oh, it's still loading. I don't know if this is a good sign or a bad sign. Is this going to be some vast set of documentation? Yes. Yes, it is. Alright. Can I get to... I just want to get back. I want to know what the current version... maybe crates.io. Crates.io. Might not be the right one. Rust crates. WebSys 0.3. Okay, simple enough. I will have 0.3, please. Yes, of course. This is going to require cargo build or something. No matching package. Is that because I meant to put a dash? Judging by every other naming convention here, I think that's a yes. Cool, alright, this might do something. I mean, it's going to do something. This might do something that we want it to do. Find out. Okay, moment of truth. Ah. No. Nothing. I wonder if I go for like a fairly large number. No. No. Alright, I think we were onto the right lines though. We really were. I think if I go back to event, wherever that is, event. Not even passing window events in. Maybe we should be passing. It doesn't matter. We had it working without that, so working is a strong description at this point, but we had it doing something. So event prevent default. See, I really thought that would do it. I thought that would do it. So mouse event, we prevent the default, or at least I thought we did. And if this is anything other than input, then we refresh this. These slowly get slower, but they're starting to function. Go on. There we go. So if I look at the 32th number, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna get too upset that that's doing that. Good. Really wish it wasn't doing this though. So mouse event. Thanks for the crate. So we've got input event or mouse event, and we've got input. And of course we've already lost our place here. If I search for just the input, what does that come back with? I'm expecting a case or something that, or a match that goes through all the possible. Yeah, it's probably going to be in this, isn't it? I reckon we should just search in here. Input. Input, change. There's loads of stuff in here. Could be any of these. So maybe we just search for like mouse. Maybe this is more accurate. Just compiling. Let's refresh this. Hey, that didn't error this time. Cool. So that didn't error. And was it due to this prevent default as well? Didn't error. And it works. Fine. Let's get rid of the... I mean, I could... Do we need the event? We don't really need the event. It's useful to have the event, but apparently we don't need it. Could just underscore it for now because it's useful. I'm going to leave that there as well, just as a reminder to future us. I think this is really worthy of a commit at this point. Git commit. The downloads are on demand. So, with that being the case, I reckon we can unleash the limit. Or unleash the full power. Oh, well, before we do that, sorry, I was debating whether or not to quote Star Wars there. Don't know what their copyright rules are on that. Probably can't even quote it. Almost there. I always get one of them wrong. Every single time, without fail. Where was it? There. So now when I paste, I need to delete that one. Alright, now we can commit this saying, saying what exactly? And what? Oh, it didn't commit. But that's fine. Yep, include that. And that. All of that. None of that. Yep. Okay. Now we can commit saying now displays all 51 perfects. True. Push that up. And I am looking forward to being able to delete all those zip files and text files that used to get downloaded. Currently just sat in S3, eating a small amount of money each month. So just compile that again. It occurs to me I shouldn't use the -m syntax, because if I do that, there's a danger that I commit stuff with an incorrect message. Then I get frustrated. Alright. How long do you reckon it would take to generate that one? I think it'd be too long. So at the moment, just go with like a 30. That's pretty good. That was the one downloaded last time as well. How about a 32? Yeah, that's a bit slower. So in comparison, that's doing about 6 or 7 times as much work. Not more. Fairly vast. 34, that's going to be about 10 times as much work. Because if we look, that's doing 1.2 million bit shifts. And in order to download the largest number, it needs to do 82 million. So that took, I mean, it's going to take like 5 or 6 minutes to generate these numbers each time. Probably even a lot longer, actually, if you're on a mobile device. But there we go. There's a fairly vast number. So what do we want to do now? I want to tidy this up. So this text thing we've got going on here for a start should be inside a TD. So git commit. So what? Oh, we never did the cargo files. That's a shame. Git commit source. So this is going to be correcting. I'm not even testing it. That's a bit bold, isn't it? Correcting table layout when txt download link appears. All true. This, however, added websys a number of commits back. Sorry. Let's push that. Run this. Okay, let's pick a small enough number that we can do this quickly. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Nice. I mean, we could implement a cache or something. We could do all sorts. I think that's probably a bit much, but I feel like this technically works, but people are not going to realize that. I don't know. They're not going to realize that this is. How can I put this? It technically works, right? But they kind of need a message to pop up to say crunching. And then they can just carry on scrolling about the page or using the browser whilst that's going on. At the moment, clicking on like 34 and then just seeing that the page crashes, I think that's very helpful. But basically regenerating the entire view. Maybe this is why we need async. Rust is async's coming to Rust, right? Maybe this is a good place to stop today, and maybe I should have a read up on the whole async thing in Rust and see where that takes us. For the moment, though, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see how long it takes to generate this monstrous number. So whilst that's doing that, let's just the remaining pushing to be done. Oop. So now we're left with the question: do we want to replace these text and zip files? First of all, let's crack open number 24. Actually, I need to wait for this to finish. But once this is finished, I could then download 24 and see if we end up with the right number. I guess, unless this totally crashes the browser. Oh, it doesn't open in the browser. Okay, number 51 is not there. Oh, actually, so this is pretty neat. We're already giving people the ability to download a number that we previously couldn't give them. But if I open this, and then I open this, and then I watch Notepad just fry for a really long time, then we can do a comparison between even just opening it. That's probably unzipping it and then loading it to Notepad is horrendously slow. This is going to take quite some time, right? It could take like 10 or 15 minutes or more. But I think this is in pretty good shape. Yeah, I think this is in pretty good shape. Just trying to work out if I could log into S3 on this box just to show you all the files that are going to get removed. We're nearly there, actually. There's I think the only other files that exist for this website now is, I think there's a tiny bit of JavaScript that's sat in a I'm not going to load it up from here, but maybe I can from here. I think there's a tiny JavaScript file somewhere. Another one. All right, there isn't. Maybe it's included on a specific page. Might be this one. Can't believe I just did that. That's just going to give us the same code as it does every time. Oh, that's interesting. You can't do a view source on a single page web app. But I guess we can inspect it. And here, I would fully have expected a JavaScript file to be included. I can't see one. There it is. Yeah, there we go. There's one small JavaScript file that powers this page. But arguably, that should be rewritten in Rust, right? So this page needs that. then I'm not even sure these still work. Okay, apparently they do. These would be quite a long time to generate as well. And then one other thing is on the cruncher page. Crunch some numbers. When we're displaying the Babylonian numerals, these are SVGs. I'd like to generate those on the fly because really Babylonian numerals are only two symbols. The sideways fish or arrow or whatever that is, and the vertical whatever that is. There you go, there's one on its own. So if we were to, I guess, just get hold of the tiniest bit of SVG just to draw that one or those two symbols, then we could draw all of these, I guess, what are otherwise separate images. And then at that point, this site will finally be entirely client-side. There'll be absolutely no static files apart from the WebAssembly. What do you know? It's still generating that really vast file. Yeah, poor Chrome. I feel like, I don't know, we should warn users. Your browser will lock up for a really long time. We're sorry. Well, we're not sorry. Working as intended. But yeah, assuming that works, I think we're probably about there. Be worth, we've pushed that, which yeah we have. It would be worth closing that and that. Probably about time to create that pull request. Perfect downloads. Now procedurally generated client side. Is cool. However, these are incredibly slow for larger perfects. Anything larger than 35 takes over a minute. Still going. Don't know, I can't decide. Is that a working solution? If you were a user of this website, would you be willing to come back to this page? You probably would. If you really, really wanted that number, you'd let it run. It's going to be pretty niche, right? Get rid of that. So this is now quite a lot of commits involved here, isn't there? Going to take a while. Let's go back to the issues. Just check what else we got going on in here. Oh yeah, that was the thing I was talking about, the Babylonian SVG glyphs. Tackle that another day. All text downloads on the site should be procedurally generated by Rust. I think we might have just tackled that. I think this PR might have just squashed that. Yeah, so perfect downloads. Client side generated as of PR. Is it PR 50? Yeah. Cool. Add functional testing. Oh, that's not one for today. I was looking at using something called, is it Cucumber? I had another project that let me just find it. I think it's one of the pinned ones, so it should be pretty quick. Yeah, this one, this ID3 music thing. Don't worry about what it's doing, it's just trying to organize files. But interestingly, it's got some given when thens for Rust, which I was quite pleased with. But they're also the reason that the build is failing, so I clearly didn't quite get it working. And very simply, I think that was all we needed to include, was Cucumber Rust. And maybe there was some mention in here of Cucumber. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe there wasn't, and that is the reason. No, not here. This is probably the reason it's failing at the moment. It can't see it in the source code. But yeah, that would be how we would begin to tackle that one. Yeah, this one in general, I think we could update this to say this page also relies on a third-party JS file. And that's not true. On a JS file needs rewriting in Rust. Also true. Okay. I think it's completely crashed. Like, this page has just completely crashed on download. Let's see if this is still eating processing power. It is. 300 meg for that tiny little page. I have no idea how long that will actually take to run, but it's going to run, right? Hopefully. Maybe an hour, maybe more. So with that, I've lost it again. I'll merge that PR. Once I've checked a few of these numbers, I'll merge that PR, and I think I will call it a day. Probably be back online. I'll try and do some evenings this week. Actually, I keep saying that and I never manage it, but I'll try and do some evenings this week. Yeah, thanks ever so much, everyone. I'm actually very excited that we got as far as we did with that. Really cool. Yeah, did not expect to get that fully working today. Cheers, everyone. Bye.